looked at being a church that shares the love of Christ, and I think that's impossible if the church isn't unified. So I've talked to you before about revitalizations that have gone wrong, and they often go wrong at an interpersonal level. The group arrive, the original church, they just don't become a family. And I look around tonight at the tables, and we didn't arrange tonight to say, right, every other chair must be someone who's formerly at Phillips Street, and every other chair must be someone, you know. And yet, when you look around the tables, there are a mix of, we're one family. And it's happened quite naturally or supernaturally, depending which way you want to look at it. We've not forced it. Lots of new friendships have been made. Susan made me review my year. And new friendships are one of the things that just came up, meeting new people, becoming friends with people I've never met before. It's just been a real joy. I love Life Group. I love being under the care of Graham and Emily and being part of that group. It blesses my heart. And there have been many acts of kindness. The little things that people do that show the love of Christ really count in his economy. I've loved the social times we've had together, the times where, we've just been able to hang out, whether that's lunches or pizzas or whatever it's been, or walks or just time. And I love the warm welcome on a Sunday. You probably all know this, but whether people feel welcome is the single biggest reason they choose to come back or not. You know, it's not the preaching, it's not the music, wonderful as the music is, it's not the children's work. Christians decide on that basis. They have a long list of things they want and make for a good, sound church. Non-Christians are clueless. They often don't even know if we're Catholic, they don't have a church event, they've got no idea what we are. They judge on how they're treated. I actually think that's a whole lot better. Do they feel that they're loved? And they do. Next slide. I've loved the fact that we've got our Sunday services running, that we've been able to welcome adults, that the children's work, and thanks to those of you that work with children and youth. I think it's amazing. I love it when I get to dismiss the children. It's almost like holding back the tide of escaping children. And it's because they love it. But I also love having the children in worship. But our parents here are heroes. It's not easy. None of us are claiming it is. If you've had young children through that phase, it is hard work. But I love having the children in, and I deliberately sit with them because selfishly it blesses my heart. I just love worshipping with people of all ages. And I love it when the children try to join in with the songs, or when they shout out answers, or when something profound gets said by one of the children that shows they were listening when it didn't look like it. And it blows my mind. I love it with the Sunday school where you set the hard questions and the children come and try and catch us out with, can you find this tiny little verse somewhere in the Bible? I scratched my head. My favourite week was me and Roger. Roger was down visiting. We were both there, flummoxed by, I think it was one of Tim's questions. Both of our Bibles out. A small group of children I was just scrabbling through trying to find the answer. Oh, that was great. And I love all of that. And I think the children here, I hope, know that they are loved. And that's been wonderful to see too. There's been a lot of unofficial chaplaincy. We talked about that in the early days here, of just being yourself, loving people. And that happens on a Sunday morning as people circulate. It happens at BS3 with Linda and Joe and Andrew and Philbert and others. Just being in that group has changed the whole dynamic of that group. And others that visit periodically, it's just a real blessing. And I'd love to see more of that, because that's been just a real sort of crossover into church life. You know, when you see Kev and Des and Tony on a Sunday, and others that have been along, that's fruit immediately from that ministry. Saturday outreaches were an encouragement. We'll come back to those. And online opportunities. I want to say a massive thank you to particularly Sam as well, for just, and Laura, you run our Instagram. And it's just good things happening online. So the numbers aren't huge, but they're not bad either. So last year we had about 650 downloads of our podcasts and about 6,500 views on YouTube. So there are people watching. They're not all my mum, but they're. One of the things we found at Heavy Piles after the pandemic, that's often how people begin to build trust. They watch for a while, they get a flavour of it, and even sharing those videos can be a great way in. Just saying to someone, you might want to watch this. This is sort of what it'd be like if you came. This is the sort of message you might get to hear. It's just a gentle introduction to folks. And even the way you use WhatsApp and the WhatsApp groups, huge amounts of work goes in this church behind the scenes. Technology often goes wrong, doesn't it? We all know that. And so people like Sam and Hugh and others scrabble around, and Emily in the early days getting church suites set up for us. We take that for granted now, but it's really useful, and we're doing more and more with it. Next, we've made links. We're a church that cares about our community. The metal works. Although we've not seen the student group we hoped for, we've seen a lot of students through, and we're now getting one or two who are coming more regularly, and we should be encouraged by that. And we thought we might get some sort of rock solid evangelical Christians coming and making their home here. Well, we've not met any of them, but we have met some who are interested in Christian things, and we may yet see some saved this year, and that's very exciting. BS3 obviously with us regularly, Cara Homes, we have great links with. I'm now a contact, I think, on 7 of the residents' forms. So if anything happens to them, we get run because they know we'll visit, they know we care. So we got added. So when Linda was recently in hospital, the BRO rang me every time to change ward, just so we could find her, which I think is fantastic, don't you? It's what an opportunity. St Mary Redcliffe Primary, we've got links with, in Bristol Social Services. It's exciting to see. It's a short list at the moment. Maybe by this time next year, it'll be twice as long. But at the moment, it's a good start. Next. And the challenge is becoming that community centre here. This building is such a valuable resource, and it's been looked after wonderfully by previous generations, and it should never be empty. It should be full of people all week long, because it costs a lot to keep this building open. And so it's a good use of our giving if it's used, and we have that informal chaplaincy going on. So people come in, they use the building, they meet Christians. And do you know what? They get a warm welcome. And we put the kettle on. And you get chatting. We had a guy come to do some training. Within a couple of minutes, he was telling me about the death of a friend. Do you mean you're just away? The Lord just opens doors when you open the doors of this building. Next, we've also made links in terms of being a church that's about compassion. A lot of the organisations we're pairing with are not with people that have got, are all with people that need help. And that's a good thing. We're doing what we should be doing. We still have a compassionate care team. Really grateful to Dave and Joan for the work they've done this year, making sure no one's been left behind or forgotten. But Kevin and Linda are part of that group, Rona, Laura Newton, Sam, Susan and myself. We've got some time during the day. We follow up people who aren't in life groups primarily, but we will give support to anybody who needs it. And that group has been a real blessing to me. And safeguarding is part of being compassionate. There are people who just need help. And so I'm very grateful to Graham and Laura, who have really done a huge amount of work behind the scenes to help us with that. And we are now using some of the things that we've put in place to help people connected to this church community, which is what it's there for. Next. Sunday services. We want to be growing. That's important too. I love our Sunday services. I love our life group. Said that already. I'm excited about RBT. We're only 1 week in, but I'm not even that, 3 days. And I'm enjoying Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Have done it for me. Keep asking me in 1,000 days' time if I'm still as enthusiastic. But yeah, maybe we will be. And I hope it's going to be great that we'll grow as a church in that. And it's exciting. There are a number of one-on-one studies now happening on the church between people. That's something you'd appreciate, something you'd value. We've got more people ready to do those that are currently meeting with people. So if you actually, I'd really love just to study the Bible with someone. Never done that, but that sounds like a good thing. It's happening in our church, but it could be happening more. I think the biggest challenge we face is all of these people that are coming into church, most of them are not coming from other church settings. They're not bringing with them a Christian understanding of the world. And one of the things we've been told is you can't just drop them in things that you would do. You sort of need a program to help them understand who was Jesus, what did he come to do, what does it mean to follow him, how does the Bible work, what does it mean to pray. So you wouldn't naturally say to someone who's just been saved from a non-Christian background necessarily join a life group, which tends to be our approach. A lot of people said you need almost a year perhaps just of being with people and helping them to access the Christian life. And I can see the sense of that. People don't know our ethics, they don't know our values, they don't know morality. We don't want to turn them into Pharisees either. We want them to have a vibrant relationship with the Lord. So that's the challenge for this year and something that I really want to think through. In terms of our mission beyond here, regionally, we're committed to the Southwest Gospel Partnership, and Tim's a trustee of that. Sam and I regularly attend meetings that they run, and FIC across the city. I landed on my parents. My parents are nearly 80. I said, do you mind me hosting some breakfast at your house this year? So I'm hosting a number of breakfasts at my parents' house of FIC pastors. It's just a convenient place to meet. So yeah, we're involved there nationally with FIC too. Alan, myself, Pete, Sam went to the FIC Leaders Conference together this year, which was a real source of blessings to have those days together and be taught. And Tim's going to introduce us on the next bit anyway. Next. So, as well as the kind of outward facing stuff, just to say that our deacons do a tremendous amount of work. They help us to manage our finances wisely, our building well, and our staff team professionally, for which Sam and I are enormously grateful. Just to say, if we're going to do what we want to do over the next couple of years, then 2025 will be a year of significant fundraising. So if we're going to develop the 1980s part of the building, which I find nostalgic, but probably does need an update, then that's not going to be cheap. Okay, so it's just to put it on our radar here, and we're not happy for one more year. But I think we would all love that to be a whole lot longer than 1 year. But for that to happen, we will need to fundraise again to make that happen. And just say there are all sorts of behind the scenes compliance stuff that our deacons and others look at. So we've worked hard on safeguarding, getting church suite up and running this year. But there's other things still to be done. There's health and safety policies, first aid policies, risk assessments, all sorts of things I'm not that great at, but do need doing. And CIO, our governing framework, also needs to be put in place this year. So those are the sorts of things that lots of you won't necessarily see but be involved in. But do bear in mind that the deacons here particularly carry a heavy workload. Next. So that's it, our church that cares, a year to be thankful for, a year to look forward to. A lot's happened in a year, and that's only a few things I thought of this week when I was thinking and praying and writing stuff down. And yeah, I look forward to this year and really seeing how much has got done. And thank you to all of you for the part you played, the hard work, the hours of service. Lots of them are unseen, but the Lord sees it all, and He's blessed us richly.